We are all here in this amazing place, and I want to thank my friend Denny, who continues to have the biggest panels of any gathering in America. In fact, this is the only room in America that can take the width of the panels that we have here. But the extraordinary folks that are all up here on the stage and in the audience who come together each year. And as we've come together in each of these gatherings, each year we kind of are a little bit taller and a little bit stronger. And more the example, not just in this country, but in this world of what a new city looks like. I would say that we are building the first truly modern city in the world, here in Los Angeles. LA's always been a confusing place. Most cities are vertical, they're bounded, they have one center. Here in Los Angeles, we don't play by any of those rules. We're horizontal, we don't really have boundaries, and we have many different centers. But I think increasingly this is what the cities of the world will look like. And the challenges that those cities, as growth happens in other countries and in parts of this country, will be to see whether we can create a quality of life that defines what the city has always been about. Aristotle wrote, and it's carved into the Tom Bradley room atop City Hall, that the city came into being to preserve life, but it exists for the good life. In other words, we came to cities to be safe, but that wasn't the end goal. The end goal was to try to find and to define what the good life means to each one of us. To have that opportunity to meet somebody who makes your heart soar and who you fall in love with and who you spend the rest of your life with. To listen to a song that moves you, to be able to see a new neighborhood or taste something you've never tasted before, to have the experiences that stay with you till the last days you have on earth. That is what life in cities is about. And transportation is the conduit for all of that, for all of us. Some of you know, some of you that are in this room I've known for a long time, and some of you are new friends, some for the first time I'm seeing. But I know that all of us together have not only a responsibility, but a privilege to position Los Angeles now as the place that when New Yorkers come here, or San Franciscans, or Londoners, or others, they go, wow, this isn't the LA I expected. And more importantly, this is a city I've never seen before. A place where we're not living our lives in bubbles, where we go from our home to our car, to our place of work, to our own table where we have a reservation, but where people are choosing to eat at communal tables and walk streets and take their bikes out, the largest open space gatherings now for pedestrians and cyclists in the country. A place that people are coming to study, and not in a bad way. They used to come to LA to look at the dysfunction and the bad air and the traffic. Now they're coming to look at the innovation. And the work that Measure R played to spark that and to make sure that this wave, which comes from many different sources, wasn't just something that we rode, but something that we pushed forward, you can all be very proud of being a part of. But it's also like a balloon that we need to continually breathe air into or it will deflate. That to be innovative last year doesn't mean that we're cutting edge this year unless we're pushing forward even more. You know, we're here at Union Station, and one of my predecessors, Tom Bradley, once said that all lines lead to Union Station. And he said this at a time when our great flagship trains came here, the Super Chief, the City of Los Angeles, the Golden State. And as he said that, those great lines were beginning to fade into distant memories. People started to take planes and other ways to get to and from Los Angeles. But Mayor Bradley's words were in an epitaph. They were a foretelling. He envisioned this station as one that would knit our city together and our region. Just as it once had connected us with the great metropolises of Chicago and New York. And today with Amtrak and Metrolink, Red Line, Gold Line, Metro bus service all converging here, we see Mayor Bradley's vision begin. When Mayor Bradley ran for office, he said that he promised to have a subway within 18 months. Well, it took 18 years, but he did it. And thanks to the incredible partnership of the folks in this room, and I'm never against trying to have deadlines that are sooner than later, we are pushing things to happen more quickly than we ever imagined, though probably too slow for many people out there in Los Angeles today. But just think about in this last year. This last year we broke ground on the new Crenshaw LAX line, the extension of the Purple Line under Wilshire, and the downtown regional connector. We started $1.2 billion of upgrades to the Blue Line. And let's not forget the work of Supervisor Kenneth Hahn, who said when Mayor Bradley was talking about a subway that we should have light rail throughout Southern California as well. We work closely with Metro staff, our partners at the airport, to finally make sure we corrected a mistake of the past, and we will bring public transportation finally into LAX. And all of us, and even the face of criticism when you're mayor, people don't want you to ever leave town, and I never want to leave town, but I've been in Washington every 2 or 3 months since I've been your mayor in the city of Los Angeles. Because being in front of both sides of the aisle, both houses of Congress and the White House, means things like when sit down with the head of the president's Office of Management and Budget Director, that we can move things up like funding for the second phase of the Purple Line by a year. That gets written to the budget even before we get the official notification from the Department of Transportation. We have nearly $3 billion in the last 22 months that trips to Washington have brought back to accelerate the work that we have. And people love us in Washington. They're jealous of us. Art Leahy, my friend, has said, you know, you go out there and all of his fellow directors that have been on the East Coast say, LA's getting all the money. Well, it's about time. And I'll tell you why. It's because everybody here helped us make sure that when we go to Washington, the new paradigm is you cannot go to Washington with an empty hat in hand. You will get $0 back. But if you come with a half-filled hat, they get excited about topping it off. That's the new federal-local partnership. And for cities that haven't learned that yet, they're struggling and hurrying to try to figure out how they can get the local revenues that we have in place. Beyond rail, I know that it is important for us not to just be rail fetishists. We have to look at buses and make sure that we understand the importance of how people actually mostly still travel through this city. 75% of our ridership is on bus lines. And bus lanes, which we've been aggressive about opening, whether it's the new carpool lanes from along the 405, where we've put a dedicated new line to shave a half hour off of your commute between the Valley and UCLA, or whether it's the BRT lines, which I still encourage my neighboring cities to join us with, on Wilshire Boulevard, 5 miles that we just opened up last week that can shave 15 minutes off. Those lanes are also the future lanes for shared cars, for autonomous vehicles, for the new technologies that are coming and the ways that we'll be able to move and still see the city above ground. And they're cost effective, they're delivering what people need now, and together with rail, showing us a vision of what this city can be like. As mayor, though, of this city here of Los Angeles, and very cognizant that I'm one, as Don Knabe likes to introduce me, just one of the 88 mayors of LA County, that my 87 peers, I've put an unprecedented amount of work to change what the role of the mayor of the city of Los Angeles is. And instead of just being kind of the 800-pound gorilla, I know that we are only 4 million of the 10 million people in LA County. So I've given the respect, and I've done the convening to all my fellow mayors in the 87 other cities, really 88 with the unincorporated areas of the county. And 5 times we have brought together the 88 mayors of LA County, something never done before, and we're about to have our 6th, where we talk about transportation, where we come together, and where we deal with those issues that ignore borders. Transportation and traffic ignores borders, crime ignores borders, economic development ignores borders, environmental degradation ignores borders. So it's time for us all to start acting as a single city, to be proud that we are all Angelinos, as well as being proud from being from Venice, or Santa Monica, or Pomona, or Lakewood. Those things that we can do to form one region make us strong in Sacramento, make us strong in Washington, and show to our constituents that we are planning things together. That it's not the big city of LA screwing over another part of the county, or that part of the county trying to take money from the city of LA, but that we have people that live in Los Angeles and work in Pasadena, and people who live in Pomona and work in Los Angeles, and that we have to start thinking that way, funding that way, and planning that way. I'm very excited that following on the extraordinary work that Art Leahy has done, and I want to personally thank him. We had his goodbye celebration here in this room, that we have a dynamic leader who's going to take the baton from Art, Phil Washington, who we're going to be welcoming as the new CEO next month here to Los Angeles. He brings an incredible amount of experience. Denver is neck and neck with Los Angeles as doing the most in public transportation in this country. And he's delivered one of the only public-private partnerships currently underway to link their transit system with their airport. Sound familiar? As well as accelerating a lot of the work that they have been doing to make sure that they have public transportation options. Looking to the year ahead, Phil will oversee the final stages connect downtown to the beach, and we're already testing cars along the Expo line. We're going to complete the Foothill Gold Line extension to Azusa, and hopefully plan to push beyond. I believe our transportation future, though, depends on the decisions that we will make in this room and in the quiet conversations we have throughout this county. I've said it in the past, and I'll say it again, there isn't a silver bullet for dealing with our traffic woes. It took a long time for us to get here, and it won't be overnight that we get out. But there's a two-pronged approach that we can take to make sure that we're on the leading edge of changes that are upon us and breaking new ground to create change. It's why I directed, for instance, our airport commission in LAX to allow Sidecar and Uber and Lyft to pick up passengers by the end of the summer, to reduce regulations on our taxis to make it an even playing field for our taxis and our rideshare companies as well. We can either, lag behind innovation, or we can embrace it, and we can be the innovators. My Great Streets initiative is setting the standards for how we take the backbones of our main neighborhoods and look at true transportation planning. So whether it's Reseda Boulevard that we just put a protected bike lane out on, that allows cyclists to actually have a protected lane and then the parked cars go into the center from there, or whether it's the way that we're looking at making sure there's wider sidewalks and better signage, whether it's the parking signs that we're debuting right now between 2nd and 9th Street on 2nd and 9th on Spring and Main Street, that actually you can look at, see a color and a time and realize whether you can park there rather than us playing trickery to get a ticket. We want you to be able to shop, eat, do the things you want to do, not get a ticket in the city of Los Angeles. And next year we will finally be launching bike share for LA County, putting us on par with leading cities in the space like London, Paris, New York. The first phase of bike share will bring 1,000 bikes and 60 stations to downtown Los Angeles, with subsequent extension not just within our city limits, but county-wide. Why should somebody from Atwater Village have to switch bikes when they go into Glendale, or somebody from Venice into Santa Monica? And I want to praise Santa Monica for taking the lead as well, and they're moving forward with their bike share, and hopefully there'll be integrated systems. But we're also taking the lead in technology. I think we're going to have to build our way out of this, we're going to have to change our behavior out of this, and we're going to have to use technology to help us out of the current traffic situation. Just yesterday, we announced a new partnership with Waze. We're the #1 Waze, no surprise, market in the country in terms of number of users. 1.3 million people use Waze every single day. We're second in the world, and probably soon going to be #1. And we announced yesterday at our ATSAC headquarters, our automated traffic control system, that we are partnering with Waze to share data both directions. Waze is going to share info with ourselves, and Metro has already been doing this, by the way, and vice versa. We will be able to give our information. For instance, when there's a street closure, well, maybe it's because we're paving a street. So somebody can now see on Waze, oh, for the next 3 days I shouldn't go there, and hey, it's nice to know that that's there. Or pushing out information when there's a hit and run. When we saw the 88 fatalities on pedestrians and hit and runs last year in LA City alone, that immediately people who are there can get a notification on Waze, see the car, help the police apprehend and bring that person to justice. We are using this as a two-way street, because technology, whether it's now that LA DOT with our dash buses you can pay using a smartphone app, and we're developing that for Metro, whether it's sharing with Waze, or the parking signs that I mentioned, which have on the back of them beacons that allow people to actually develop apps in a geographical way, an app that will show you red or green to somebody entrepreneurial here, yes you can park, no you can't park, and also let you know it's 10% off, food in the restaurant right next to where you've just parked, to help spur our economy at the same time we're improving the quality of life. LA for so long has been on the cutting edge, but mostly of car culture. It was an innovation at the time. It was cutting edge in its day. But we have to decide what is the cutting edge for us. And let me end by saying this, because I know this is all about Measure R 2.0. People today, even less than at the time when Measure R was passed and Measure J put forward, are skeptical about tax increases. It's a tougher lift today than it was then. Even though I know the recession had just started, we didn't realize it was going to be the Great Recession. There was a presidential election, which was helpful. Our work is cut out for us in this room. And I will offer first that I have put in the work to build what I think we didn't always do in the past, which is a county-wide coalition. I'm the first Los Angeles City Mayor to visit our COGS in places like the Gateway Cities and San Gabriel. We're engaging with North County and looking at the the South Bay COG and the West Side COG, and making sure that we build a real coalition. The first mayor to go visit SCAG since Tom Bradley, if you can believe that. SCAG, which is responsible for our regional transportation planning, no mayor had visited since Tom Bradley. And people appreciated that, but vice versa, I appreciated it because I could hear from my fellow mayors, council members, supervisors, leaders from 5 counties about what we can do to plan together. But we have to be louder about the successes in jobs, in transportation, in health of the first Measure R, if we're going to be in the position to be able to go back to the voters and get a 2/3 majority to vote. I've always said the most important part of leading is not learning how to talk. And I know I'm not modeling this particularly well right now because you've asked me to talk. But the mark of a good leader is learning how to listen. And so all of us as a room full of leaders have to listen and have to engage in the conversations in every Kiwanis Club, in every Chamber of Commerce, in every neighborhood association. We have to build an army of people who can rise up to say, enough is enough, we want to see new options and a new city be built. And we're willing to step up and pay for that out of our own pocket if we can see the trust and we can see the record of delivery in what has happened before. I'm laying the foundation as Metro Chair to make sure we're in a good position to do that. We build on the work of the past, as Danny said in my introduction. I want to praise Mayor Villaraigosa and the work that he did with Measure R and the countywide supervisors who helped that get passed and the coalition of countywide mayors and local officials who supported that. But this is going to have to be a campaign where if it moves forward, we're going to have to be perfect. Look at the votes. Last time Measure R was 67, and 66.4 was Measure J? 1. I thought it went up a little at the end, but 66, both of them have been on the razor's edge. And for us to get there, let me leave you with this, a call to arms. If we don't move forward with something big, if we don't get something passed the next time we go bold, we will see some very significant changes, but we won't have the system intermesh in a way that you can go from anywhere to anywhere with 2 or 3 different options in this town. We have to think about the technologies that are coming. Let's not plan the elements of a future Measure R based on just the way that we've built things in the past. We have to be cognizant that the pace of technological change for transportation is dizzying, and we may look back 10 years from now and say, wow, why didn't we anticipate that's how people would move through the city? We have to talk to the young people that are in this city and ask them what their needs and their desires are. When people aren't turning 16 and trying to get their driver's licenses anymore, but are demanding good bike lanes, main streets that work, and better ways that they can get around, and easy ways to pay for it. We have to look at the ways that we can each put our own behavior out there and use, whether it's technology or just changes in our behavior. As I've said to this group, I think before, my favorite stat about LA County traffic is that the average car has 1.1 passengers in it. And if the average car had 1.6 passengers in it, without building a single new thing, we take enough cars off the road to not have any traffic here. So the power of what we can do as individuals, the power of what we can put before the voters, and the power of what we can do collectively through technology and through good planning means that we can see a city that people will look to around the world as the example. LA should be where we embody the good life. It increasingly is the place where people are seeing the new city. It's a picture of what America will look like and what the world is today. And as such, we have an opportunity to look back at this moment in time, this inflection point. To move LA forward is to move our minds of possibility forward as well. And for the world to see, this is the first true great modern city in the world, and we had a hand in building it. Thank you, and adelante. Gracias.